Good evening. You know, one of the greatest words, the greatest business concepts the last 10 to 15 years has been fusion. Fusion creates all kinds of new opportunities as you pull disparate items and elements together. It could be products or services. Organizations even can be fusionary, right? So fusion is the concept that we want to talk to you about this evening. I'm going to demonstrate a concept right now, a fusionary idea, right here at WOWBIZ Super Quiz. I've got a great combination of contestants right here. I can't wait to tell you about them. I'm Lynn Hinderrocker, and one more time, thanks for joining us here on WOWBIZ Super Quiz. Let's take a look at our new contestants. How you doing, guys? Good to see you. All right, man. Hey, say hi to our audience out here and tell us who you are.
Hey, everybody. I'm Gerald Jones, a small business architect and also a podcast producer.
Yeah, so you got two things going on, and you are a small business architect. I like that phrase.
Absolutely.
That means you kind of organize things and develop infrastructure, which would be what an architect does.
Absolutely. Yeah, I help people take their business ideas or their existing businesses, put a foundation and a frame around them that will support long-term growth.
Yes.
Where a lot of times small businesses just kind of get started because somebody's got a passion. I help them turn that passion into an actual structure that's going to grow.
Very cool, very interesting and very important idea. Now we've got a gal with us I've known for some time. Welcome to the show. Tell everybody who you are.
Hi everybody, I'm Monica with Monica Simpek Photography. I am your event photographer. I specialize in corporate events, commercial events, community events. I'm very much involved in the nonprofit sector. I am also your content photographer for your social media. My specialty is telling your story.
Yes.
Again, Monica with Monica Simpek Photography.
Yes, and let's say your last name again, Simpek, S-E-M-P-E-K.
Correct.
And how do you find somebody like yourself on the web? Is it monicasimpekphotography.com?
Correct. That's it.
I guessed it. There we go.
Very nice, very nice.
Thank you for sharing. All right, now we got our third contestant tonight. Tell everybody who you are.
Hi, I'm John Fullerton. I'm with Trans World Business Advisors, and I help people sell their business or buy a business or find the right franchise. We also turn good businesses into great franchises.
You know, you're the transactional guy, right? And it's the generation. You're bringing new people in and kind of taking over existing businesses. John, what's the single toughest part of your job, just in a nutshell, real quick? What would you say? Getting listings?
Well, getting listings is a challenge because not everybody is open and honest right up front as they should be.
Yes.
When they're thinking about selling their business, that's something you want to keep confidential. So we're very good at maintaining the confidentiality.
Super.
And ensuring that people's privacy is respected, because we don't want to tell the whole world, so we're very good at marketing confidential.
Yeah, that's a really key point. And the name of your company again is Trans World.
Trans World Business Advisors.
All right, so we got Gerald, we got Monica, we got John, and we've got a game in front of us. Everybody ready for y'all? Ready to do this? All right, here we go. This first one's kind of a quick question, and I want you to raise your hand rapidly if you feel you have the answer to it. And even if you do or don't have the right answer, we're going to talk to everybody about this particular question. What is it called when your customers are surprised by something that you do for them, pleasantly surprised, and they really like it? When people are talking about you around the community and so on, what have you done specifically to prompt that kind of response? John, I think you were first.
Well, there are different things that come to play here. You know, when we're talking about the age of the internet, then of course there's videos and things going viral, and that's kind of a concept that relates to what you have.
Yeah.
But really, when you're talking about what do people say, and they're talking what's the buzz in the community,
yeah,
you're talking about word of mouth advertising or word of mouth marketing.
Okay. Gerald, what would you call that? What would be the phrase or maybe the sound bite when you say, what is that elicits that kind of positive, pleasant surprise response?
So it's actually a surprise and delight strategy for word of mouth marketing, and the intent being that you're giving a little bit of something extra to your customers that they weren't expecting, and it just gets them talking about something that came to them that they weren't expecting. It could be something as small as, you know, a free drink when you walk into Starbucks, or whatever other surprise it is. But,
okay, all right, that's your answer. Monica, what would you say?
To me, it's about, I call it relationship marketing. Keeping those relationships strong. When a client comes to see me, I want it to be memorable, fun, exciting, and emotions sell. And so I want them to continue talking about their experience so they can share it with their friends.
All right, none of you got the answer. I want you to now do me one favor, and we'll move on to question number 2. Turn around and look behind you right now. Look at the graphic behind you. What do you call that thing right up there at the top of you? We're talking about the wow factor.
Yes.
Oh man, I know you all know that. What's your wow factor, huh? What's that special ingredient that gives you the edge. That's right, the wow factor. So, well, nobody gets the win on that particular thing. We're still on the same page, right? So here we go. All right, most salespeople, this is a very different kind of question. Most salespeople know the importance of giving information, we all got that part, and getting information from the client. But few of them understand how to get a commitment from the client. What is the one way? Give me one way, and there's more than one way to get a commitment from the client. I'm going to go with you, Monica.
I think I coach sales all the time, not as much as you, but I think people are afraid to ask for the sale. And they should walk in the door assuming the sale and never leave without asking.
Okay, so that's how you would go about it. Jared, what would be your response to that? We give, we get, now we're 2/3 of the way through the dialogue. We're kind of trying to, we don't want to walk out without some sense of commitment. What's going to be your strategy at that moment in the sales journey?
So my strategy is always to get a potential customer saying yes several times throughout our conversation. And it could be yes to something as small as, I don't know, a request for, I don't know, anything. It's just, you know, whether it's a cup of water or anything like that. I just want you to get in the habit of saying yes to me. Okay. So that by the time that I get to the point of asking you for the big ask, whether that's the next appointment for a sales meeting or an actual, you know, proposal for contract, you've gotten used to saying yes to a lot of small things, so that now it's easier for you to say yes to a larger thing.
Okay, I think that's very clever, and that comes up a lot. That is a standard tactic. John, what would be your answer to this particular question?
Well, that's very good, the yes ladder, as they call it, getting people conditioned, asking the right kind of questions. A lot of salespeople think that it's all about them telling exactly what the benefits and features are, but it's really not about telling. It's ask, don't tell, because you really want to ask the right kind of questions so that people can then internalize and make their decisions for themselves. And so, of course, training them to say yes to different things, but also then, furthermore, there's always going to be some kind of an objection. And so the important thing is to confront those and to address those issues and
anticipate
concerns.
them maybe,
Of course, and ask those kinds of questions so that then when actually you're the one doing all the talking as the salesperson, that's not the good situation. You want to be asking all the questions so that your customer can do all the talking, and then you can lead them to the conclusion that best suits them.
You know what? Those are all three good questions. I think we'd all answer or agree that those are three good answers. And John, I'm going to give you the win on this particular one. I think the questioning process is fundamental at that place. And by the way, the questions usually begin with how. How would we go about implementing? How would your team respond if we went ahead and purchased the product? Those kinds of questions are really helpful at that particular point in time. A couple other things I'm going to throw out there, by the way, I hadn't heard from anybody. One is to throw out a testimonial, right? That really is a great way to get people to say, wow, I guess this is all for real. So a third-party testimonial is really good right there. And also a sales story or a sales anecdote. So we take it away from the exchange of information about the product and the solution and so on and say, you know, and you kick back and say, one guy did this, blah, 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 and tell a little story, and it ends up with them, of course, purchasing the product. So those are a couple things just to keep in mind. But I think you win on this particular one, John, so good job on that. Thanks so very much. All right, here we go. Now, we're getting deeper now. We're going all the way. All right, this is about branding. Today, 64% of buyers want to do business with a company that has a higher purpose or has some sense of shared value. 64%. That's a pretty significant sector of our entire economy. All right. Pedigree Dog Food believes that every dog deserves a loving home. That's their credo, their value system. Right. Southwest Airlines focuses on the democratization of air travel. Nobody's any better than anybody else when you go to Southwest Airlines. Right. We all go through that cattle call together. You know. Patagonian is a very well-known apparel brand with shoes and apparel and so on. They believe in the environment. All their clothing has been, ecologically correct and so on. So they all have their distinguished value system that's associated exclusively with their brand. Now I want to ask each one of you, I'm going to start with Gerald right off the bat, what would be your higher purpose or shared value system that would come out of your small firm as a consultant here in the small business sector? What would that be? And I'm going to go right across the line and go to Monica and talk to John about that as well. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So my consulting always ties back to my podcast and the purpose behind the podcast, which is to ultimately help the Black community take ownership of its economy so that we can eventually arrive at a point where all communities in the United States are on equal footing economically because they're all self-sustaining, And when we have a point where everyone is equally self-sustaining in their economy, we can collaborate, we can communicate, we can work on a ground towards a future together.
So the
that's really my
purpose is kind of
long-term.
lift up the black business person so they feel on equal ground with everybody else.
Absolutely.
And are operating at that same level of.
Absolutely.
Okay, well that's a core value, and I get that. Monica, what would be your higher purpose, the thing that really touches people in their heart while you're talking about your camera and your studio and all the things you do?
The main purpose I started my business was to tell stories for nonprofits in the Omaha area who don't have a voice. So my tagline is my lens, your memory, their story. And as I go to an event, I want you to feel like you're a part of that event. Okay. I want to bring awareness, but what matters most is to bring your heart into it. Mm-hmm. And so you're capturing those moments that are going to draw attention from others. And it also creates a memory that you can look back on. Okay. And how that nonprofit has changed somebody's life. So my lens, your memory, but more importantly, I'm telling their story.
Okay, it's wonderful.
Lens.
It's elevating a lot of underprivileged people, those secret moments that everybody wishes we could remember forever, the look in the child's eyes, that kind of thing. And I know you're outstanding in that area. So that's a really good one. John, what would you say? What would be your higher purpose?
Well, of course, there's a spiritual higher purpose, and I think we're all called to act ethically and morally in the right way to each other, and to treat each other right, to act with fairness and to work with compassion. I care a lot about what I do. I care about helping people. That's what I'm about. I try to be as fair as I can to all parties in any kind of a transaction.
Sure.
I, of course, want to get the top dollar for the seller, but also, of course, we don't want to screw anybody. We want to make sure that it's a good deal for everybody. Sure.
Okay. All three of them laudable, I would have to say. Gerald, I think this one's going to be for you because you have a very clear-cut idea about a sector of the economy that you're going to try to bring up. Also, Monica, very strong response. But I think Gerald's got a really outstanding quest and a mission that we can all kind of understand. And I appreciate your contribution there. So that would be your deal on that one, Gerald. Okay. Now listen, we got one more we're going to do, and then I got a special little thing that I think we'll have fun together with. The former CEO of Time Warner, we all know about that company, once said to his employees, he said, "In this company, you'll be fired for not making mistakes." Now, what's up with that, and why would a CEO tell somebody that? Monica, why don't you address this for us?
This is something I'm very passionate about. Every day you go out there, you start that world, you go out there and present yourself to the community. And every day you can make a mistake. But the biggest, most important part is getting back up, starting over. If you are not making mistakes, you're not trying, you're not giving it all, you're not dedicated to what you're trying to do. And to me, if somebody makes a mistake and they own it, that's all that really matters. And if life happens, but be honest, have integrity, and keep trying.
Okay, awesome. John, how would you address that? Why would a guy like from CEO who has this massive company and everybody's supposed to work precision and system and so on, and he's telling them that they should be making mistakes? Why would a guy say that?
Well, I think the key issue right there is honesty. Being honest with oneself about the nature of humanity and that we all make mistakes. Sure. And of course, learning from them is the most important thing. Right. If you are not able to admit that you make a mistake, you'll never learn from your mistakes.
Sure. Okay. Gerald, what would be your thought about that? I know you're going to have a unique spin on this.
Yeah, absolutely. This actually always takes me back to the parable of the talents, where the master gave the talents to his 3 servants, and one decided to bury it in the ground. Another 2 decided that they wanted to invest it, and when the master came back, the 2 who invested were rewarded for increasing the money, whereas the one who buried it in the ground was punished. And I see that as the same thing in this scenario of, I want to hire people who are going to go out and they're going to take my company to the next level. If you're not making mistakes, that means you're playing it safe and you're trying to make sure you don't mess up. I don't want people working for me who are trying not to mess up. I want people working for me who see my mission and who want to take me to the next level.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I want to tell you, I think in this particular case, Gerald wins on this point. The both of you are absolutely correct. I certainly agree, honesty, integrity, and so on and so forth. But I think where this guy was going was innovation. He was trying to push people to take risks, well-calculated risks, and step outside, because Time Warner is a very entertainment-oriented, media-oriented. These are companies that have to be constantly innovating. And so I think that's where he was pushing people and say, don't worry if you screw up now and then, as long as we all learn about it. And you made that point. You don't want to keep it to yourself, really. It should be a learning moment for your unit or your collective team. Everybody agree on that? All right, good job on that, Gerald. I appreciate that. Now we're going to do something special now. I'm going to lean down here. I'm going to bring this up to the table right here. We're going to play a little game called Find the Value. Find the value. Excuse me for going off the set here a little bit. Monica, I'm going to give you this. Very heavy item here. And you've got this, my friend. Okay. Now, find the value means figure out a way. Assume that you're the marketing department for a large company, and you're not allowed to refer to the item in its obvious fashion. In other words, you can't talk about that as a hanger, all right? The idea is to find a brand new application for the design that you have in front of you, all right? And figure out a way, tell us what the pitch is going to be. Okay, but I do want to say it's very important that you understand that Curzon Promotional Graphics is the operation that is enabling us to be here. They have empowered us with the graphics that we have on the set. They worked with us from the very beginning. And by the way, WOWBIZ Super Quiz is an unusual organization. I mean, we haven't done a lot of this in the past. It's a new idea. And so for them to be able to step up after 30 years of tradition, producing, creating great graphics and backdrops and signage and all kinds of graphical images. And our society, as I think you know, is becoming more and more visual, right? It becomes extremely important. People aren't even reading so much, they're just scanning images so rapidly. So what they are capable of doing is more and more important and strategic to your company. Nevertheless, they stood up, they sponsored WOWBIZ Super Quiz. Check out Curzon Promotional Graphics on the web. They've got all the solutions for you. Don't forget, thanks so much for Curzon Promotional Graphics being involved in this particular show. All right, we're going to come back to our contestants here on Super Quiz and talk to them, unleash their creativity. Nobody seems to be wrestling with this challenge. Everybody seems to feel like they've got it already. And by the way, there are many people in the new product industry that would be struggling with this. So I can't wait to hear the solution to this. So, John, should we start with you? Tell us what this mundane item is and how you're going to repackage it, resell it, and how we can find value in that item on the desk right there.
Ladies, are you discouraged by having your spaghetti straps on the floor? Think again. We have a new solution for you. The perfect solution that suits you well for your teddy or your negligee and provides special patented hooking mechanisms to prevent the slope and slippage of your personal items. And of course, extra velour padding, which then provides the friction that you need and the body maintenance of your fine garments. I introduce to you the hanger in extraordinaire.
All right. Nice job all the way to the end. I appreciate that, John. Thanks so much. Now, you kind of took a little bit of a curve on that because I was hoping you'd think of something other than being a hanger. But I have to tell you, you repositioned the hanger and turned it into a specialty item, which I certainly understand. We're looking for really outside-the-box stuff right now. Gerald, why don't you tell me, what's this circular black item here in front of you, and what are you selling it as today?
You know, this is the hand-eye coordination and reaction specialty disc.
Okay, specialty, it's a disc, right?
This is for your young kids who are especially in baseball, somewhere between the ages of, I'd call it 5 to 10. And what you do with this is you're going to lean this up against the wall outside.
Yes.
And then notice that it's got the convex.
The spherical.
Exactly. And so when they throw a tennis ball against it, you don't know which direction it's going to go.
I see.
And so immediately they're going to have to react. They're going to have to get their reflexes up.
It's
and
kind
it's
of
going
the
to be their hand-eye
eye
coordination.
over concept.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so here you can take one kid in the backyard with this particular tool,
Yes.
and they can increase their
Agility.
reflexes and their agility. Absolutely.
Yes.
Going for low price of $19.99.
$19.99.
That's,
Probably manufactured in China.
$19.99, I mean.
Oh,
yeah.
All right, thank you. Yeah, because it is a spherical specialty item.
Absolutely.
I love that. I
Premium
think the
products.
benefit is good, especially for those sluggish kids that have been spending too much time in front of the TV and on their cell phones and whatever. They need to get out and move and catch the ball as it goes from various directions.
It is absolutely.
Yeah, so it's really, you're really selling physical fitness to the younger generation.
Absolutely.
That's a very interesting pitch. All right, Monica, what have you got going on over there? What do you sell in the world today?
I can't lift it, really, but I can tell you what it is. This is your success statue. So you are going to present your employees this, it symbolizes business. So when you are out here, your ideas are all over the place. And what you're going to do through time is you're going to bring it in and you're going to focus it all into one area, and there's where you hit your success. So you could do it in tiers or you can do it on sides, but the darn thing's so heavy that, to me, if you're not thinking about your business all the time, you are not growing your business. So having this somewhere where it's so heavy to move, you could just do the different tiers, and then when you get to the top, put a big shiny diamond up there, and that's your success meter.
Very good, Monica Sempek. Thank you so much. I like the pitch. All three of you clearly are outstanding salespeople and very creative. I don't know. I think it's pretty closely with Monica and Gerald on this particular one. I think, Monica, I'm going to give that to you for one reason. You have physical dimensionality to work with. Right? But she made up the whole pitch about what that symbolizes. This is functionality, that's clearly functionality, but she used symbolism to tell us what this actually is. And you know, things that are sold through that are symbolic are extremely valuable to many of us. You know, we'll pay far more than what the actual material would actually add up to, right? Awesome job, Monica, you win on that one. Good job, girl. Excellent, outstanding. All right, now here we go. Let's talk about sales again, okay? Since we're on a sales pitch. A young sales developer at Vandalay Industries recently made, in one day, 89 cold phone calls. In one day. All right? How many times, I want you to guess now, two numbers. How many times did he actually, A, connect with somebody, a human being, on the phone, all right? And how many appointments did he set at the end of the day? How many appointments had he made? Not sales, but appointments. All right? So I'm gonna start with John on this. You've been around long enough. You've sold a lot of things in your career, as have I. How many times out of making 89 phone calls, leaving a lot of voice messages, a lot of voicemails, how many times would that person, with cold calls now, not leading them with whatever mail or something else, would that person likely talk to somebody, some human being?
The sales funnel is kind of a tricky thing, and it is a numbers game. And
Yes,
of course, you know, when we are talking about trans world and going out and cold calling on people, or also trying to get people to purchase a franchise opportunity.
Yeah.
And we actually have some statistics. I'm not really exact on them, but I'll tell you roughly what I recall is basically about 85% of your cold calls you won't really get any kind of meaningful response. So if you said there was 89 of them.
89 calls.
All right, so then I guess I'm going to say 14.
We got to do quickly. The show's wrapping
so
up.
14, and then of course when you actually get down to the meaningful and the sale conversion, it's about 2 to 3%, maybe 1.5% sometimes.
So out of the 14 connections, how many appointments are you saying? You're sticking your neck out here.
Yeah, so
how
I'm saying
many?
14 appointments.
No, 14 connections.
Connections, okay.
And then how many appointments?
And then, but in the end, no, okay, I thought you meant sales. So, but sales would be 2 to 3.
Yeah.
But if you've got on these big ticket items,
Yeah.
smaller ticket items, quick.
Okay, Gerald, tell me, out of 89 phone calls, how many times is a human being actually going to talk to you?
I think it's a little lower. I'd say 11, 10 or 11.
And then out of that 11, how many of them are going to agree to meet you for a sales appointment?
Max 2, so I'm just going to go with 1.
Okay, you're going to go with 1.
I'm going to go with, let's go with 2.
All right, 11 and 2 is your number.
11 and 2.
Monica, out of 89 phone calls, how many times is a human being going to actually talk to you on the phone?
I'll be brief. 7 and 1.
3.
7 and 1.
Oh, 7 and 1.
Yes.
7 out of 89 calls.
You'll
be
actually be
7
able to present to,
conversations,
yep.
and you get 1 sales appointment.
Appointment, correct.
Okay, John, you want to come at that one more time now? What would be the number of times you talk to a human being if you make 89 phone calls? What's the number?
I'm still going with 14.
14, and then out of the
but I'm
14,
saying,
how many
okay,
of them
I'm
would
gonna be
actually...
higher than both of you? I'll say 3.
Okay.
I close more.
Okay, you almost got it, my friend. You almost got 12 and 3. 12 and 3, pretty close. You're 1 off in both cases. So I got to go with you on that, Gerald. But everybody was kind of in the area. Once we finally got you funneled down to what we're doing right there. All right. Well, listen, this has been an outstanding show. This was particularly interesting. I have to tell you, I love watching your creativity. And boy, this is kind of a fusion. You know, if people are watching this, they're putting together. This is a privilege to have one question and then have 3 different people with interesting backgrounds answer the same question from 3 different angles. That's really something. I appreciate you jumping right in and doing that. You're sharing a lot of your expertise with the local business community. I appreciate your help so much. Thanks for watching again. This is WOWBIZ Super Quiz. I'm Lynn Hinderrocker. We'll be back soon. Thanks again, and make sure that you get together and fuse, form an organization, create a new product, create a new service, come together around a core idea. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.